Hey, welcome to my 7-2 review of Starcross Season 1, Episode 5, Dreamers May Often Lie. Great episode. Just to be warned, there are going to be spoilers. This is expecting you to have seen the show. If you haven't, you probably want to watch it. It's a very good show. It's right at the beginning, so this is a perfect time to jump in. So without further ado, we're going to get into what the episode was actually about. There you go. Dreamers Often Lie basically deals with one major plot, and that's the Atrian Sevens are going to be allowed to go downtown and hang out amongst the people, and this is the cause for three major plot points. So the first plot point that I want to talk about is we know that last week Roman had found this hybrid phone from his father's, and he was trying to figure out if it was a trag or not, and we come to find out it's Gloria, who is baby mama to his Knox, his deceased father. Some of the family knows about it, some of it doesn't. Mostly the adults know, the kids don't know anything, yet they're finding out. We shall see. But either way, he wants to find out the identity of who his dad was talking to. So he and Lucas, his little buddy, are going through, Lucas is a human, and they're going through and they're trying to figure out all the stuff that they need to find out, and they trace this phone back to the school, and they find this little trick of a note, and it's written in Atrian, and it's invisible to us because they see in a higher wavelength. This is going to be very important that they can see UV kind of stuff. It helps them light their way, as mentioned in previous episodes, actually last week's, to be specific. But either way, that's plot number one. Plot number two, I would think, has to deal with Emery and Grayson and their little triangle. They're getting ready to go off on a date at the same time as this little outing occurs, but Grayson gets called by Eric, his buddy, who's starting to get involved with the Red Hawks, which is an anti-trag human group. He gets in with it. These guys jump in his car. They're like, man, they're bad boys. And then they come in, and then they all scatter, and then Grayson's the only one that gets arrested. So that's story number two. And then minorly, three, I would say, is you have Drake and Terry. They're meeting with the Trags and getting next assignments, and Terry's like, oh, it's going to be me. And Terry's mom, Vega, picks Drake instead, and she's all jelly, and she's like, I'm the better warrior. And so that's subplot 3. So we're going to go back to subplot 1, and we're going to wrap this up really quick. Again, this is now major spoilers area. I'm going to try to hold the last little bits, so you really will watch the show if you haven't, and we can discuss those next week if I remember. But let's go back to, we're going back to Roman and his little adventure, and now he goes and he's figuring out this little riddle, and this is going to bring him to this road that's going to take him into the bayou, and he's like, where do I go? And then all of a sudden he can see this little breadcrumb path of highlighter juice all, written through the bog. So he walks through, and then he finds these little things, and he's like, oh, this is just like the story that Mom and Dad told me when I was a little kid. And then he does it, and then he gets really disappointed because nobody shows up, and then lo and behold, Gloria comes up, and he's like, you set me up so I would bring you here. She's like, I had to know, just in case your father's plan didn't work out. He's like, well, it's all, pooey. It's like Santa Claus, and he runs off. He's all upset because nobody shows up. Well, Chiron, the kind of boat keeper that they have, comes over, and he's like, this isn't for you human people. She's like, yeah, but trained kid, can't trust him, with the humans. He's like, okay, I'll take a kid. End of that storyline. The next storyline we have is Emery dealing with Grayson. Grayson comes to find out that his parents are going to get him out of trouble and get his friend Eric in trouble, and they're like, he and Emery are like, no, that's not right, because he's not the bad guy either. The bad guys are the bad guys. So they go and they hunt down these bad guys at the biker bar, and little Emery gets all like, you can't do that, you're gonna get in trouble. And so the guys knock themselves out to Grayson's parents, who we know is the patriarchy, and the runners of the Red Hawks. So that's the other storyline. Last storyline we have to deal with is Little Miss Jelly Terry and Drake. Drake gets picked on this mission. And Terry's like, "Oh, you need my help to get off the bus," and he really does. But then she's starting to renegotiate it, saying that she was sent by her mother to help out. Well, Drake's like, "No, no, no, this is my big deal. I'm gonna do it." And then he goes and he's sitting at the Bug, which is their local crawdad bar. I'm waiting for them to start calling humans bugs, and so they can have a derogatory term to use against us in this. It'd be kind of, at least it's only fair. Those little tatties. But either way, so he's waiting here, and then all of a sudden, Taylor, the haughty blonde, comes over, and she's like, "Hey, what's up?" And he's like, "I'm meeting somebody." She's like, "You're waiting for me?" And he's like, "No, no, I'm not." He says, "Yes, you are. Come on, let's go to the bathroom." And next thing you know, we already knew that it works because of Knox and Gloria, but now, the teen generation's getting there, Well, either way, he comes to find out that she's not who he thinks she is, being his undercover meeting, espionage meter. And then come to find out that Terry is now meeting with a girl, and it's that bitchy friend of Taylor that's all like anti-trag. It's like, "Oh, you're such a self-loathing hater kind of person. You're awesome." And then so she gives them both the, you guys really, what are they gonna say? And meanwhile, she knows what Drake just did, so they take him off. She takes Drake and this other girl go off into the bayou with the cube that he had stolen last week, and she explains the black cipher is going to be used to kill all the humans, but it needs to grow. And then lo and behold, my boy Timo, look at his body, Officer Beaumont is there. So Timo's mentioned, but not really. I mean, he's just a corpse, and so they're going to use him to the seeds. I'd like to see him come back as a zombie, personally, just because, he's always one of my favorite actors. But either way, so that's that. Now, we have the little side stories of Lucas, who's been helping out Roman in terms of all his technology stuff. He's majorly crushing on Sophia. Meanwhile, Sophia had a day out with Taylor, and they're being good girls, and blah, 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 blah. But it's all because Taylor wants to find out the inside information on Drake and, how to get with him. And, but meanwhile, we come to find out at the end, Lucas is like, "Hey, Sophia, what's up?" And she's like, "Yeah, I kind of interested in somebody else." And then there's like, yeah. So, I don't know. This could be our first intergalactic lesbian experience on the show. That's more or less it. I don't want to get into, those last 2 minutes of spoilers of things that you really want to see and experience for yourself with the actors doing it. But I do have a couple of questions this week in terms of some of the things that they've talked about. Now, I'm going to give you my score first. This is probably about 7.5 for this episode. But that being said, I am not the target demographic. I am a guy, older. This is not normally my thing. I'm in here for the sci-fi goodness. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that and some of the stuff that they've talked about. This is obviously with these love triangles and pentagons and stuff. We at least should look at what is the ramifications of all this interbreeding and future interbreeding going on in the relationship of this universe. What is Nox's and Gloria's child, Nori? What is Nori all about? Is he more Treyan? Is he more human? Is he something else that is completely different? There's already been talked that they're a divergent race from us, but we also know that they have 2 hearts and 2 lungs and 2 whatever else's we don't even know. Now, apparently, since Gloria was able to track Roman through the bayou with no problem whatsoever, I'm kind of assuming that they don't have super hearing. Also, it could be a script error. It could be just something else, but I think it's something to really look at. And then with Julia, with her being saved by basically a transfusion of cipher and blood, well, what happens? Because it looked like she was starting to turn into one of them, but then they stopped it. Are there future ramifications? What would happen if it didn't stop? Would she just become all blue? Would she still be human? What would you consider? Is she contaminated? And speaking of contaminated, we have found out that since Drake did get down and dirty in the bathroom with Taylor, there's going to be some ramifications for him there, because the Dragons are going to consider him a traitor as a result of that. And since we do know that Nox's brother knows about the love child, little Nori, what does this mean in terms of leverage against the family? And since that there's some, it seems to be at least a bit of a familial passage of leadership through the clans and the tribes, what does this mean to Robin's right to be the leader of the group? So that's it in terms of that. I do have a couple questions that are kind of looming in terms of the technology as it's going through. We've seen hybrid technology. We've seen that the Atreians have really cool anti-grav technology in their ship. We know that the U.S. government has already hauled up everything that we considered to be weapons and stuff like that, but some of the stuff had fallen through. I would really like to see some of that in terms of, you know, right now this is really just to set up these elaborate love triangles. I mean, as I see it, Roman doesn't like anybody. Emery likes Roman. Terry likes Roman. Grayson likes Emery. Terry is liked by maybe Taylor. Taylor also likes Drake. Drake just loves being a trag, but isn't so cool. I mean, it's getting crazy already, and I don't know. But either way, hopefully the science will keep us going and push us through. The only other thing I really wanted to mention is the appearance of Black Cypher. What does it mean? Is it a cool effect? Is it a good way of doing it? Are you excited? Next week's episode is Stabbed with a White Wench's Black Eye. You try saying that 3 times fast. I don't know. But either way, I think it's awesome. They did delve out into some heavy-duty CW territory with some shipping of some girls, inappropriate, maybe underage sex at a bar. I don't know, they're in high school. That being said, it was a really good episode, and it was a lot of fun. Again, it's not in my particular wheelhouse, but I'm going to definitely give it a positive review, and I encourage everyone to go and watch it again. And I am definitely going to do a review for The 100. It looks really cool, so look forward to that. And that's it. So I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you enjoyed this review. Please leave in your comments below if you'd like to know more about anything or anything I've thought about. That's it. Ta.